Hello, my Stampin' friends. Welcome to another episode of stampinwithcandace.com. I'm running a couple minutes late as usual, so sorry about that. Um, my name is Candace Anderson. I'm from Hiram, Utah, and I go live every Monday. So thank you for joining me. If you're familiar with my lives, I go live on both Facebook and YouTube. Sorry. um, And on the first Monday of every month, I do a Make It With Me Monday. The idea is that hopefully you're in your craft room and you can grab some supplies and follow along. Now, I don't usually do something that is very, very, how do I put it, specific towards something. Just grab whatever supplies you have that are similar and follow the technique or fun fold. I'm kind of doing a little bit of a fun fold, but mostly focusing on the technique tonight. If you aren't somewhere where you can stamp, maybe you can go back and try this later. I'd love to see what you come up with. Please share it with me. You can share on my page as a comment, or you're welcome to join my Stampin' Fun with Candace group and share there. So either way you can share. So we're going to switch cameras and get started. Please, if you are joining me either live or on the replay, tell me where you're from. I'd love to hear from you and I'd love to hear what you think. So I mentioned, if you saw my little description, to grab your favorite embossing folder, but we're not going to emboss. So these are some brand new ones. They are called Seasonal Cheer. They're in the online exclusives that just came out for July. This one is so cute. It's got candy canes on it. This one here has little bats on it. And then this one is leaves. So you'll notice that they are a small, like not very wide. They're also very, very thin. So this technique does work with lots of different types of embossing folders, and I can show you some different ideas. I've been kind of playing around with it. We are going to use this fall leaves one. I know it's still summertime, but I really wanted to play with these. So the other tool that I'm going to be using is my brayer. You do not have to use the brayer to do this technique. I just used it to get even pressure on what I am doing. And then I am going to be using the Sweet Words and Labels dies. So this is the set that coordinates with the Winnie the Pooh set. I'm not using Winnie the Pooh. I'm just going to use this because I like the sayings and I like the frames. And I realized when I was trying to figure out what I was doing for sure, this also matches the Global Design Challenge, which is to use frames. So I thought that was kind of fun. But I'm not going to pull them out because I pre-cut them, but I layered 2 of these, and this is what we're going to be stamping on. But it comes with these little leaves as well, so I've cut out a couple of little leaves that we're going to use on it, and I thought it worked really well with this embossing folder. Before we start doing anything with ink, though, we are going to cut our paper. So I have this one, this is just for my inside. It is cut at 5 1/4 by 4. So I've just cut it down the 1/4 inch. And then I have a couple different ones here that I'm going to be layering. This is what we're going to be doing our embossing on. I believe it's like 1 7/8, and then I just went up 1/4 inch on each of those. Now this is the one that we're going to be cutting for our little bit of a fun fold here. So the first thing I am going to do actually is score it. So this is just my standard card base 8.5 by 11 paper cut at the 5 1/2, and we're going to score it at our 4 1/4. But then I am going to cut 1.5 inches off of this. Hopefully you can kind of see that. Sorry, it's going up in there. So I'm going to cut 1.5 inches off. And then I'm going to take this one and put it back in here let's see, it should be my 5.5. So what is half? 2 3/4, if I'm thinking right. And we're just gonna score that one. It doesn't have to be exactly in half, but all right. So we're just gonna use our bone folder and get a nice score on these. And that's our basic thing here. So now we are going to do a little bit of stamping. I'm going to grab my Cajun Craze and I'm going to stamp. The best kind of days are the days spent together. And for those who are huge fans of fall, I thought this worked really well with this card. Okay, so we're just going to stamp that on there and we're going to set it aside. Now for the fun part. Like I said, we're not going to be using we're not going to emboss this at all. Although, did I emboss one? I don't remember if I did. I did. So I'll show you what it looks like. This on white, but it is very, very pretty embossed. It's not a thick embossing folder, so it's not super. What's the word I'm looking for? It's still fairly thin, but it does have a lot of texture. So it's a really pretty embossing folder. But what we're going to do, so when you're looking at the embossing folder, so you have the Stampin' Up on the front, and then you have the little Stampin' Up on the very back. That usually is going to tell you which way it's embossing. So that means that the image is going up towards the top part here. So what we actually are going to ink is the bottom part here. And I'm just going to take my ink and I'm going to go straight on to my pad. So I've tried this on a couple of them, going both sides, and either one actually, just depending on what look you want, either one can look good. And I am inking it up in early espresso. Now I'm not trying not to like swirl it or push way too hard. I'm just going up and down on it basically. If it gets a little bit in there, it's okay. It's not going to hurt it too much. Then we're going to put our paper on here. Just drop it down and I'm going to fold this over. And then I'm going to use my brayer to give even pressure. Now, one thing I figured out on the brayer, if you kind of pinch this and hold it here, it helps it so that it doesn't pop off. So I'll show you what I mean. If I start rolling too much, now it's not going to do it. Sometimes that can pop off from the edge, but if you just kind of squeeze it in the center there, it will keep it from doing that. The first time I did this, I just put a piece of paper over it, and then I'm like, it's an embossing folder. I can just fold it on itself, and it allows me to get that pressure. Now, it's not embossing it. It's just getting pressure on it so that we can get the ink on it. And when we pull it out, this is what we get, this fun little inked image. And then we are actually gonna, for this one, I'm gonna grab an aqua painter and I'm just gonna grab some of my ink. So I'm just pressing into the lid so I can get some ink. I just realized I need a piece of paper that I can clean my brush off. So when I did this, I found if I put a bunch of water kind of in here, I was able to get it so that it was, I wanted definitely more of a watered look, not so much the dark ink. You could also use blends. Now, I did use early espresso. So because they are both water-based ink, the early espresso might bleed a little bit, and I was okay with that. Hopefully I can do this pretty quickly. Just adding some fun color to my leaves. And what I really loved about this particular one is because of the way the leaves are and the way this worked, I could get that fun image in a color, but then I could add additional color like I'm doing right now. Um, Trying to remember which other ones I did here. This color, I believe, is the one of the new in colors, Golden Glow. All right, so I'm going to get that ink off of there. And then we're going to grab, so I usually like to start with my lightest colors. But if you get your ink off, you're usually okay either way. But we're going to add some more. This one is Daffodil Delight. And I just wanted a little bit of the brighter yellow on here. Let's try and do this really quick. And of course, you can use whatever colors. You could even make them greens if you want. Well, I am going to use some green. We're going to grab some Old Olive here. But I meant you could make them all like summertime green leaves. They do not have to be fall. Let's see. Trying to remember which ones I did just because it makes it a little faster. But you could do whichever ones. They don't even have to be the same. Same, what's the word I'm looking for? Same leaf shape. You could do different, mix up the colors on different leaves. It, doesn't really matter all that much. And you can add more water, less water. It will make it a little bit darker, lighter, just depending on what you're wanting. You can add a bit more shading. This is kind of a focal point, but also kind of a little bit of a background. You'll see what I mean when I put the actual card together. And then I will share with you a few other samples that I made using this similar technique. And I missed some leaves here. Okay, we're going to grab our red. Now, usually I like to use cherry cobbler when I am doing fall leaves, but I was afraid the cherry cobbler would be a little bit too dark, so I went with real red instead, but I actually like it, and it is pretty dark. Even adding more water in there, it's still pretty dark, but I wanted that little pop of red. I just liked the extra that it added to it. A little bit brighter, I guess, is what I was looking for. Okay, so we missed a few. We're going to go back and grab these other colors. So you can see I'm getting the ink off my brush and I can come back in with a different color, even the lighter color, and it's still going to stay light. So one of the nice parts about using one of the aqua painters, I think they're called aqua painters. They changed the name on it. So I apologize if I'm calling them the wrong thing. Water painters, I think maybe is what they renamed them. And I'm going to do this little stem here. All right. Now we are ready to put our card together. So again, super simple here. We're just going to grab our pieces, and I've just tied a bow. What is this? Old Olive, uh, there's a name here. Rick Rack, specialty Rick Rack. Uh, Fun little ribbon. And we're going to hurry and put this together. So make sure I'm on the right side here. We're going to layer our saying on here, and we're going to layer these ones up. And I didn't use a lot of water, so this is still fairly flat if you were to look at it. It's not embossed, and it doesn't have any I didn't use a lot of water for the watercoloring, so it's still pretty flat. All right, and then we're going to add it one more time to the front of our card. Now here I'm going to actually open this up just so that I can make sure it's centered on that panel there. Now we're going to take this part and we're going to add a little bit into this one. And I'm going to actually line this up on my board. So I've got 1, 2 inches, 2 inches, and that way it's nice and centered. And then I can add my white on the inside. And cover that up. So if you wanted to, a fun thing to do is to stamp across here. I did that on one of my other cards. Now this one, we are going to actually attach it to right here. And this is what I meant by that. It's it's a little bit of a fun fold because we're going to attach it so it's centered, and then it's going to open like so. Now, finish it off, we're going to add a little bit of these fun little leaves with a mini glue dot. I'm just going to kind of layer them a little bit here. And the leaves, when I cut them out, the dies, 2 of them are together and 1 of them is by itself. So I cut the Cajun Craze one by itself. And then I cut the Early Espresso and Golden Glow, that they were the paired ones. So I'm just gonna add this to here roughly. And one more, we'll add the little bow. And there we go, our super easy, fun, finished card. Hello, Margaret from North Carolina. Thank you for joining me tonight. But yes, so this is super, super easy, fun, simple, fun fold. But I just think that is so pretty, so fun. Let me show you. Okay, so some of these are, let's see. Some of them I have a card done. Some of them I just have the, what's the word I'm looking for? I just did the embossing folder so you could kind of see. So this is the little bats. So this I wanted to show you. So this is the back side. So just like we did on the leaves, this is the back side, but you can also do the reverse side. So that's kind of a fun, different look that you can get with that one. This one right here is the sunflower, this great big one that came out quite a while ago. Oh, thank you, Margaret. I appreciate it. I'm glad you like it. So this one, I did both sides. This one is the back side, using the back side, and this is using the front side. So this one, again, would be really cool to color like I did this card here. I just thought it would be really cool to color. And then let's see, what else do I got here? This one right here is the little candy canes. So this is just doing it on the thing. Now this one here, though, I'm going to show you. I actually then put it in and embossed it, and then I inked over it. So this is where I was saying that I did stamp on the inside behind that little fun fold. I just did the fun fold up a little bit higher. I think I no, I did do it the 1.5 inches, so same size. And then these ones I just did some and cut them out. So again, another fun way to use that. Now this one right here is this folder right here, the Lazy Daisy. So this is what it looks like if you were to actually emboss it. And this one here, I cut it apart and did it, but it was really cool both ways. I haven't done anything with this one, but this is the back side, and I haven't played with that one quite yet. And here I did almost all my embossing folders. This is the Forever Plaid embossing folder that I've done on the background. I actually did it on the background on this card that I shared last week, which is where I was like, oh, this would be kind of a cool, fun technique. Again, I just really love how this one turned out. It was super fun with adding the color. So I hope I inspired you and that you'll go and try this technique, get a little bit more out of your embossing folders. Or if you do not have a cut and emboss machine, you can still get an embossing folder and have a little bit of fun. So, thank you again for joining me tonight. And I will be back next week, next Monday. Sorry, it's getting late here and I haven't had dinner yet. So, brain is not engaging. um, and be sure to check out past videos. And I did get a new episode of Scrapped up. If you haven't followed that, I we took most of the summer off, but I decided to do one. So check that out if you like scrapbooking. Lots of fun ideas on that. And remember, you can order anytime at candiceanderson.stampinup.net or check out my blog, stampinwithcandice.com. I did have lots of people requesting for the tutorial for the cards I shared last week, this one right here. And I am working on that. It should be up soon on my blog, but just so you're aware, I am working on it. So be watching my blog for the tutorial on that. Thank you again, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.